Right now we're talking with Suji Park, former Tokyoite, restaurant owner of one of Tokyo's favorite gathering places, Suji's in Roppongi. Famous for Sunday brunches and so much more. It was a mecca for media people, great place to meet. It was a place where all kinds of deals were made. It was a place that had indoor-outdoor seating with great music inside too. And if you went there, if you went to Suji's, you could be sure you'd be eating quality foods. And it's a place that's sorely missed here in Tokyo. It used to be when people would say, hey, let's meet for lunch, everybody would say, at Suji's. Suji served lunches to the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo, and she might still be doing that. We'll find out in just a moment. And of course, we miss you too, Suji, but you've moved on. Welcome to the Kong Show.
Thank you, Kong.
So what's the deal? Are you still serving lunches to the U.S. Embassy here in Tokyo?
We do. Unfortunately, it's a kind of closed environment, but we have a cafeteria there under Suji's Deli. We serve a lot of American favorites, minus brunch, which you described. And you know what you described our place is like, it made me really miss the time.
Yeah, well, you know, after closing up your restaurant here in Tokyo, which, as I mentioned, we all miss so much, you've moved on, but tell us to where?
I actually moved on to Omaha, Nebraska and Lincoln, Nebraska, believe it or not.
That's hard to believe, actually, from Tokyo to Lincoln, Nebraska.
I know. I was born and raised in Seoul, lived in New York City, and in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, where else would you go after those cities, right?
Nebraska. Actually, my sister lives in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln is actually, you'll be pleasantly surprised about Nebraska, how innovative this state is. But I found a University of Nebraska, Lincoln, UNL. They have a state-of-the-art food processing center where they help companies like us starting up, developing new products, from ideas to real products, formula, and working with the factories and things like that. So I found them especially, they're specialized in a technology called HPP.
What's that stand for?
It's high pressure pasteurizations.
I see.
It's like, your car tire has about 30 psi, which is per square inch. That we're using 87,000 psi to kill bacteria, listerias, and things like that. So we can make fresh food without using preservatives and all these bad things to increase the shelf life. But my goal was to develop restaurant quality of food with all natural ingredients, and it could be fresh with more than 30 days of shelf life. So I chose to work with the UNL, and I moved to Nebraska since then. That was about 4 years ago. I
understand you're the ambassador from Nebraska. Didn't I read that in the newspaper or something somewhere?
I am, yes.
Yeah? What's your official title there?
Well, I was awarded the Year of Diplomat of Nebraska from the governor, and then I also go to trade missions with the state to promote, how Nebraska has been great to international companies like us to build our business.
That's amazing. That is truly amazing. Your accomplishments totally blow me away. I mean, you moved to Nebraska, and you've been recognized by the governor and been made the ambassador from Nebraska to the world.
But I know, we're the first Korean company where we develop all natural. Most of our products are gluten-free. That we have not only frozen, but fresh food, frozen food, and shelf-stable products. It's all from, Nebraska's support. I only had a concept, and the state of Nebraska helped us from funding to building all the network, and so we're actually born in Nebraska, in the U.S.
By the way, I remember you used to sell what kind of sandwiches at the airport, at Narita Airport? Was it
pastrami and Reuben sandwich?
Yes. Are you still selling those at the airport?
No, not the airport, but I had to focus in the U.S. market, so I downsized a lot of business in Korea and Japan, except the deli inside of the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo, and the one in Korea. It's in COEX, actually city airport terminal in Gangnam. So we decided that we'll focus for now in U.S. market.
I used to love to buy one of those pastrami sandwiches before I got on a plane to fly back home to Hawaii. And it was so interesting. It was so cool because, the your sandwiches, your pastrami sandwiches had a very unique aroma. Right? And when you would open the bag and open the sandwich up, the aroma moved all around the plane.
Yes.
And everybody had to look at you and what you were eating.
That's a real pastrami sandwich with rye bread.
Oh, yeah. I miss those.
And that's what we're doing here. We're developing or we're bringing authentic Korean flavors and authentic Korean cuisine. These days, consumers want three things, right? Convenience and clean label and authenticity. So that's what we're bringing. But by the way, Kong, if you ever fly American Airlines out of U.S. international, you will see sometimes Korean short ribs. That's ours. The sauce is ours.
You are moving and grooving. By the way, I'm going to read a quote that was in a magazine called Sway. This was written by Belisa Silva, and I guess you did an interview together with her.
Yes.
And about you, she said, and I quote, Suji Park, an internationally acclaimed restaurateur, opened a Korean restaurant in Omaha and launched a line of fresh and frozen Korean foods, giving customers across the nation a chance to sample the Asian fare from the comfort of their homes. So now you have this whole line of frozen foods, right?
And fresh food.
And fresh foods. Mm-hmm. Tell us about your frozen foods. What kind of frozen foods do you have on the market, and where can people get these foods?
So we have about 30 different products.
Wow.
And more than 80 SKUs, meaning like different, from retail to club, like Costco and food service level. So the frozen food, we recently launched Korean toshidak, which is like bento. Bento box style. We actually call it, I wanted to call it toshidak, but since American consumers are not familiar with toshidak, the word, so we call it Korean bento.
Okay.
We just launched 4 different types at Walmart, about 1,000 stores, about 3 weeks ago, nationwide.
So you're into Costco and Walmart.
Costco, yes, Bay Area with kalbi, short ribs. And we're in 780 stores of Target stores with a fresh bulgogi now.
That's amazing. How did you do that? How did you set up these deals to get your frozen food into all of these retail outlets?
Kong, do you have 2 hours?
2 hours. We can do a follow-up interview. I'm sure it was a lot of work, right?
Let me tell you, this is not new to me. We've been developing products for companies like Costco in Korea and Japan. So when I came to U.S. to bring Korean products for the mainstream American consumer market, I was thinking maybe a year and a half. But for 3 years, then it took me 3 years to develop products and make the products ready to go into market. And then I thought it was done. And then making distribution system, we're talking about 45 times, 50 times bigger country, the land of Korea, or like 30 times, bigger than Japan. So the logistics distribution system is all different. So it just takes, everything is taking a long time. So, people in industry in America, they say, Suji, you're just a miracle. How did you make for the last 3.5 years? You're all over in retail stores.
Right.
But I'm like, guys, I need everything yesterday. So this is very slow for me, but I learned a lot.
I can imagine. Will you be writing a book about what you're doing?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
If anyone wants to do distribution business in U.S., I think my story can help. I don't know if I can find a time to write a book, but that's in my plan because I think, whatever I learned, I would love to share the experience with other people.
Nothing stops you. You just keep going.
I don't know, Kong. Sometimes I just want to lay down and watch TV.
I want to ask you what you do in your free time a little bit later. By the way, did you develop all these products yourself?
I do. I get involved in the R&D and creation side. So I started my business, everything by myself, like just by myself in my kitchen in loft in Omaha, Nebraska. And now we have, obviously, the good-sized team here in Omaha and Seattle and Korea. We work together. But one thing that I'm involved, like my title says, it's Chief Inspirational Officer.
Oh, CIO.
So anything that, CIO, that's I am, who I am, yeah. And I get involved in the creation side. That's what I do now these days.
Any chance you might be producing a cooking show to teach people how to make quality Korean food?
Kong, I am a very shy person, you know that.
Yes, I know. I remember. I remember very well. Meeting you the first time over brunch at Suji's on a Sunday. That was my favorite place to go. Your eggs Benedict were inspirational. By the way, are your frozen products available here in Japan yet?
No, not yet. Although Costco Japan is soon, next few months, they're launching Korean chicken poppers with our sauce on it.
Why did you leave Japan?
Why did I leave Japan?
Yeah.
I never left Japan. My heart is there.
Oh.
What are you talking about?
Okay. When are you going to open another new meeting place where we can all go and meet and enjoy your great food and atmosphere?
Japan is always in my heart. It's my second home. I had to move quickly because the market in America was opening up. There was it was about to open up, and there was no player in the market. So my whole goal was, and it still is, to own the market. Mm-hmm. And when, the first brand is very important in the market, whereas Japan, there are a lot of players. So I wanted to get U.S. market first, and then try to come back to Japan with, doesn't have to be just Korean, but it can, it's my title says Chief Inspirational Officer, so I'll be inspired by something.
I mean, with the growth of what you're doing, is there any chance you might go public and allow other people to participate in your success?
I'm not sure. It's I haven't decided yet, but what I am decided is, what I know is that the brand we have, it has to grow. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter about private and public owned, but it has to go to the right people, right team to make this brand to be number one. That takes a lot. You can only do probably as a small startup company, let's say in America, you can go to maybe 50 million, 60 million, up to $100 million. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the end. But then, once we have a really professional team who has all this distributional channels, then you can look at $500 million market, right? So I will have to decide next few years, what my routine is going to be. I'm an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. I'm never a CEO, who's going to be, looking at numbers and, my beautiful desk looking out the skyscrapers in New York or Seattle. So I'll have to think about that next few years. But now I'm busy enough to just put myself, 100%.
When you're traveling from city to city now, are you using your own private jet? I'm guessing with all your successes, you must have your own private.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's called Delta in Alaska.
All right. I want to get back to your product. For those of you who don't know, Bulgogi is a beef product, and it is absolutely delicious. It's one of my favorites. It's been one of my favorites since I lived in Korea for 4 years, back from 1971 until 1975. And I still search for Bulgogi. Now you have it as a frozen beef product. So from where do you get your beef?
Actually, if I may correct you for the bulgogi product. So the fully cooked meals is frozen.
I see.
But bulgogi itself is actually fresh, chilled.
Oh, okay.
It's in Target markets. It's nationwide, 780 stores, but they have about double this, so we're at half Target stores in U.S. We have beef and beef bulgogi and pork bulgogi, which is spicy flavors, and chicken bulgogi.
And from where do you get your beef?
That's another thing, and I wanted to do something about sourcing beef from Nebraska, because Nebraska, number one beef, no matter what.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, because I've been witnessing it. I've gone to the feedlot and the farms and all this. They really have the best cattle or beef. Now, cow, However, in U.S. in processing kind of structures, there's no way that you can identify the beef is coming from where. So we can't say where the beef is coming from, but our bulgogi is actually processed and and packaged, marinated and cooked and packaged in Chicago.
I see. Very interesting. Do you know if they're grass-fed cows?
No, it's a USDA choice level.
I see.
Most is corn-fed.
Okay.
And the grass-fed actually never really took off in America.
I was with one of your former customers last night, Ralph Roll. Ralph is the drummer for Kubota Toshinobu here in Japan, and he's also the drummer for Nile Rodgers of the group Chic. You may remember. Oh,
yes,
freak out!
Yes.
And of course, Nile Rodgers was one of your customers too, right?
I have the picture.
You've got a picture of you and him, and I think all of us standing under your sign, your Suji's restaurant sign in Roppongi.
Yes, I missed that. Yes,
we all miss that. Believe me, we still all miss your restaurant and you in there. Anyway,
thank you, Colin.
Ralph asks, are you seasoning your beef in any special way?
We don't season the beef. We marinate beef with our sauce that I took actually about 6 months to develop. All natural and gluten-free Korean sauce. One is soy sauce based. The other one is gochujang based. Gochujang is Korean red pepper paste.
I love it.
So obviously it's a spicy side.
Oh, yeah.
So we marinate with 70% muscle meat because we don't put fillers or colors or nothing, just muscle meat. We slice them. We marinate with 30% of our sauce, which is all natural and gluten-free.
Yeah, that was important. My daughter asked me to ask you about the gluten-free aspect. And that's very important to many people.
Right.
I want to talk a little bit about your restaurant in Nebraska now. I understand that you are planning to open another restaurant in Seattle, too. Is that correct?
Yes, and more, actually. Yeah, more states very soon.
Good for you. Are you opened in Seattle yet?
Omaha.
Omaha.
Not in Seattle yet.
Okay,
yes.
so only Omaha. How's business for Korean food in Omaha?
I'm blown away. I mean, even today, I'm literally looking at the video because I'm in an office, the manager's office, looking at this video, for the restaurant. The people who enjoy Korean food, I don't see any Asian people, not even just Korean, but no Asian.
Wow.
It's all 90% of our customers in Nebraska, they have never had Korean food in their entire life. And they're eating and they keep coming back.
Wow, that's great.
And I see pickup trucks with the farmers coming in. And I'm like, can I help you to choose good, the menus for you? So oh, no. We've been here many times. We know what to do. And they order samgyeopsal and order more kimchi and, they want gochujang. I'm like, have you had a Korean food before? No, never. So it really makes me happy. We started with more Asian, like Chinese and Vietnamese, who are familiar with Korean food. Now 80% non-Asian. So I see the future of this business.
Very interesting.
So we're authentic Korean food for mainstream American customers.
What about kimchi? Are they eating kimchi? Because that's a hurdle for many Americans to get past.
Honestly, we tried once with original kimchi. I don't know if you know, but kimchi, just to register kimchi, and with the Korean government is about 250 types of kimchi. So any vegetable pickled in Korea is called kimchi, literally.
I see.
But the most popular one is napa cabbage.
Napa
is called pechu. Yeah, pechu kimchi. Pechu means napa cabbage.
I see. Okay.
A few months ago, napa cabbage was just very hard to source here in Omaha. So we used the cabbage, which is more crunchier, right? And which is also easy to get and economical and all this. We realized that American consumers, non-Asian consumers, or non-Korean customers love cabbage kimchi because of texture. It's just something that we kind of neglect, that how different cultural the preference is different. It's not just flavors, but also, also the crunchiness, the texture, and the scent, color. So I'm still learning, even if I've been in the U.S. side for a long time.
Amazing. Any plans to introduce a kimchi and bulgogi burger?
Yeah. Kong, do you remember you drew a new menu for me one day?
Yes.
I don't know, about 8 years ago?
Yeah.
About bibimbap in a taco shell?
Oh, I can't think of it right now.
I forgot the name. Yeah. Well, it was a brilliant idea, right?
Yeah.
If or when I develop that menu, it's going to be Kong's bibimbap.
Oh. Kamsahamnida.
Well, you knew that. We had a Kong's Burger.
I do, yes.
For a long time.
That's right, because you were sponsoring my podcast and my broadcast here in Tokyo.
And not only that, you always have good ideas, for recipes. So I need your more recipe ideas.
Okay, well, I'll draw another picture for you. I did draw a picture for you, right? And I think I gave that to you. I'm not sure.
You did about 7 or 8 years ago. Yep.
Kong's bibimbap burger, something like that.
Something like that, yes.
So I guess I can follow up by saying, and I'm going to try my Korean here, Owanchari bihengi teuchimaseo. Can you explain
that is very advanced Korean, Kong.
Really?
Yeah, I don't even use it. Yeah.
Can you explain to our listeners exactly what that means? Owanchari bihengi teuchimaseo.
Well, don't make me on the plane, or don't make me fly. And I'm so flattered.
don't take me on a 5-won airplane ride, something like that.
Exactly.
Right? So you mentioned that you're planning to open in other cities. Are you planning to franchise Suji's restaurants?
I am.
You are?
Yes.
Wow.
With very controlled management, and because we cannot. It's all brand business, what I'm doing, so we cannot challenge or make this brand go bad. So that's why I'm focusing on manualize the service and recipes and whatever things get going here. We want to maintain that. I'm interested in franchising, plus with the national chain, because it's all about the regional or franchisees, and it's all about co-work and the branding out there as soon as we can, as fast as we can, because, again, we have to own the brand in the market.
Will you still be serving Eggs Benedict in your store? Because you kind of introduced Eggs Benedict to both Korea and Japan, right?
I did.
Yes.
Yes, I'm proud of it.
You should be. By any chance, did you get that idea from Sarah Beth's restaurant while you were living in New York City?
Sarah Beth is my mom's favorite brunch restaurant in New York. I actually have never been there, but I was more inspired by the chef-driven, restaurants where they're making, they cure their own bacons, right? So that's where I got inspiration that, well, why can I not, bring this from the scratch made good food to Korea? Because the only thing was available in Korea 15 years ago was just McDonald's and TGIF.
I remember. Yeah. I was even there before there was McDonald's. There was no McDonald's there. We used to go to, a place in Dongdaemun or Itaewon. Yeah. And we would eat bulgogi and rice. And the bulgogi would be cooked on top of a kind of a yellow metal dish that was shaped kind of like a volcano, right? And you would put the bulgogi on that dish, would be heated from underneath with a fire or charcoal, and then the drippings would drip into a side.
That's the sauce, with the vegetable.
Oh, I miss that.
Well, you have to come to Omaha.
I'm going to come. I can visit my sister there, too. I'll take her to your restaurant.
Of course.
Tell us a little bit about your lifestyle in America now, and what are you doing in your free time? Are you into sports? Do you have a favorite team?
What free time?
What free time? Of course. That's got to be the answer to that.
I have to tell you, Kong, though, I fell in love with American football.
You did? What's your favorite team?
Oh, my gosh. It's just, I can't stop watching it.
Are you a Huskers fan?
Of course. Nebraska is all about Huskers.
Sure.
Go Big Red. I call it Cathedral, the Huskers Stadium in Lincoln. So 96,000 people every game, full. and the tickets sold out since 1960s. So the vibe and the dynamics of the football, yeah, I fell in love with it. So I'm trying to get into that vibe with the Seahawks, Seattle as well.
So you're going to give up the Huskers for the Seahawks?
No. It's different, college football and the NFL. I'm going to keep both in my heart.
Okay. So no free time. How do you manage your time? Are you using any special kind of calendar or device to help you manage your time?
I do try to make Google Calendar as efficient as possible.
Right.
I can't, honestly, I can't live without my calendar telling me what to do or what I'm doing this week. But I do also, I realized it a few years ago that resting is really important to get more energy and vibe. So I try to, have at least a day off in the week and just relax and do sports. I actually do yoga, Pilates, and lately I started swimming. So whatever, I can that I feel like, and I try to spend at least half day of a week doing leisure, and I try to go to gym when I'm in Seattle almost every day. And I realize it's so important to, just be relaxed and then also exercise, have the energy back, and that's like contagious, Yeah, so I try to do that.
Congratulations on taking care of yourself. That's so important, especially when you're the head of a business. You're the CIO, as you said, Chief Inspirational Officer. So you have to have that free time to rejuvenate and allow your imagination to blossom, right?
I do, yes.
Suji, we're running a little bit short on time. Is there anything you would like to say to all of your friends and fans here in Japan who sorely miss your restaurant, and to other people who might be interested in tasting your food in Omaha, and or who would perhaps like to find your food in Costco or Walmart or any of the other retail outlets? Do you have a message for all of us?
Well, first of all, I miss Tokyo so much, and the restaurant concept that I have, my first restaurant in Omaha, it's a traditional Korean food, and yet the level of service and the cleanness and the design, it also has Japanese aspect. There's that eight years of living in Tokyo that inspired me a lot. So it's like it's everywhere what I'm doing ever since I left Tokyo or Japan. So I know I'm going to go back to Japan. I just don't know with what business, but I know Japan is my second home. For our products, I want people to understand that we're trying to build restaurant quality of food using the best technologies and science available in the world to make it all natural and healthy food. But I personally don't believe in only organic and only non-GMO things, because I believe in 9 billion people we're feeding. We're facing soon 9 billion people we have to feed, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to understand how we can make better products, better food that we can make still people maintain health and feed lots of people. So when you see our products, it will be the message of authenticity and the healthy aspect and the convenience, and that's what I'm trying to build. So I want people to understand what I'm standing for.
Where can people find out more information about what you're doing? Do you have a website or a Facebook site?
It's Kong's radio show.
Oh, Kong's radio show. Oh, that's right. And here you are. Since you're on my radio show, I want to know, I'm curious, because I used to love to go into your restaurant in Roppongi, because you always had great music in the background. What kind of music are you playing in the background of your Korean restaurant in Omaha?
Well, we're going back to the Japanese influence, jazz.
Jazz. Oh, yeah, that's very Korean. Very, very Japanese.
Of course, the ramen place in Japan, they play good jazz, Miles Davis, right?
Yeah.
That's where actually we're playing.
Actually,
you can find our information on our website. We're actually renewing our website right now, so it's a little bit it's not updated, but you'll find a lot of information in a few months update it real time.
What is the address for your website?
It's sujiskorean.com for our product business, and sujiskoreangrill.com for the restaurant business.
And can people order your frozen or your packaged products? Can they order those products online and have those delivered to their home?
Not from our website, but we're working with Amazon Fresh for our fresh food, and I'm sure Walmart has their own delivery website.
You know, we're going to have to give you a middle name. I think we have to call you from now on Suji Amazing Park.
Thank you, Tom.
You are absolutely amazing. Again, Suji, thank you very much for your time, and congratulations on all of your successes, and I hope you can make all of your dreams come true.
Thank you, Colin. It was great to talk to you.
Always great to talk with you.
Okay, bye-bye.